Good evening, everybody. Welcome. You are not blind. I have decided to wear colour. So welcome to the session. Hello, Terry. Hello, Emmanuel. Hello, Pete. Hello, Ben. I'm going to kind of, if you're not aware, I'm based in the UK here. Pete from Wolverhampton, Greg from Wisconsin, Zan from Minneapolis. Wow, we've got a good crowd here. Hey, Scott, Charleston, South Carolina. I am in the sun here because the British weather is pulling a blinder and it's scorching. So welcome to the session. We are going to be talking about being the go-to expert for your target audience. I'm going to talk about some things. I'm going to share some slides, but really what I'd love, Kristen from Burbank, California, awesome, welcome. Ben from Greenville, South Carolina. What I'd really love here is actually to you ask questions as we go. Lee, welcome from Putney in London. I bet you're cooking, Lee, in London today. It's scorching there. We're really going to dig into being the go-to expert for your target audience. What does that look like? How do we do it? Hi, Ashley. Hi, Kishore. So it looks like everybody's joining now. So let's kickstart it. Please feel free to ask questions as we go. You are more than welcome to ask as many questions as you like. It's raining. Where is it raining, Brandit? It's cooking here in the UK, where I am in Plymouth. So, right, I'm going to get into tonight's session, but before we do that, I just want to kind of introduce you. If you've never been to one of these sessions before, I'm the founder of Maverick. So I founded Maverick in 2014, and we help people grow their business through social media, organic social media. So everything I'm going to be sharing tonight will apply offline, but as we know, social media has become a big part of our world because it's the way people do business on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. People are doing business on social media. And if you want to position yourself as an expert in your field for your customers, for your target audience, social media is one of the easiest ways to do it. You know, in the old days, we'd talk about PR and it would be very expensive and very long-winded. But here, Melissa from Sheffield, my old neck of the woods there. I'm a northerner in Plymouth, and Sunny's in Luton. But it's raining, right, Sunny? Sorry, that was a play. Yes, so that's social media is the space to do this. It may be a little uncomfortable because obviously it's a different world, but social media is a brilliant way to do it, and I'm going to walk you through it tonight. I'm going to share some slides and do picture-in-picture, but I'd love your questions as we go. I'm kind of breaking it down kind of systematically for you to go, think about this, think about this, think about this, and explaining a couple of things along the way. There's a lot of mistakes. Hey, Scott. I know Scott from LinkedIn. I'm going to explain a few things. Paul Regan. Paul, are you up at this time? Paul's based in Australia. I don't know what he's doing up, awake at this time, or whether it's early morning, I can't be sure. I'm going to kind of break some things down as we go. This is a lot of content that normally I teach in my accelerator, and I'm going to condense it down for a short session. So I'll do it as best I can in the short session. Leo's been to Exeter and Plymouth. So great. So here's what we're going to be looking at. So we're going to be looking at how do you position yourself as the go-to expert? Because there's actually some places where people make massive mistakes in this area. Number one, he's in Marseille. Wow. Leverage your expertise. How do you leverage your expertise? I'm going to talk about 3 different ways to leverage your expertise, to make monetize your expertise. Then I'm going to talk about how do you create your value proposition that's unique to you. There's lots of people who do what you do, but what makes you unique and how do you do that? And then how do you speak to your audience through content? How do you do it in a way that speaks to them where they are. So that's what we're going to go through. I'm going to do it as quickly as I can. I'm going to try and bust some myths along the way, because I always think if you avoid the mistakes, you're more likely to succeed. So I'm going to show you some of the mistakes along the way there. And hello, Khalid, as well. So I think a lot of people, first things first, a lot of people think about expertise in the wrong way. I think they miss a trick. And just whilst we're there, tech guys, if we can drop the banner on the presentation, because I've got some free stuff I'm going to give to people, which is on screen. So I think we think about it a little bit wrong. So first things first, an expert isn't a title you give yourself. It's something people think about you. It's not something you can declare. It's something people see. So that's the first thing. Experts, it's not a title. It's a role that people see you in. So it's something people give to you. It's not something you declare. I always get highly suspicious of people when they put on their LinkedIn bio, social media expert or marketing expert. It just seems a bit cheap, to be honest with you. Hi Antoinette, hi Daniela, hi Ama, hi Joy. So that's the first thing. The second thing is your expertise. Some people watching this and joining us tonight will beat themselves up about, I'm not a good enough expert. You only have to be, listen to me here, you only have to be an expert in what you know. You don't have to compete with the global player. You just have to be an expert in getting your client or getting your target audience to a result. We're going to look at that in a minute. So don't beat yourself up if you're not the world's foremost expert. There are levels and degrees of expert, and expertise is relative. If I'm looking at what you do, I don't know what you do here, but if I'm looking at what you do and you can do it better than me, do I think you're an expert at it? Yes, I do. I'm useless at DIY. So when I see people building things that I couldn't possibly even think about building, I think they're incredible. That's ingenious. I could never do that. But then if I put that person up against, the world's guild master craftsman, I might think differently. But that's not what I'm looking at. I'm comparing them in relation to me. So expert's a title given to you. It's what people see. It's not something you are. It's not an identity you create. Unless you're an expert witness, in which case you are an expert witness for this topic, which is something that's given to you by court or legal professionals to say that you can do it. So again, it's a title given to you, not something you claim for yourself. So let me just put this in context. There's 800 million people on LinkedIn. You don't need millions of people to see you as the expert in your industry. You don't need millions of people to see you as the foremost anything. You just need X. What's your X? Okay, so if you don't need millions of people to see you and love you and think you're the world's foremost expert, all you need is a group of people who see you as an expert that supports your goal. Now, I'm going to come to the goal in a minute, but if your goal to use your expertise to get clients, you don't need 800 million clients. You don't need 100 million clients. You don't need 1 million clients. Most of you, and somebody put it in the chat there, is you need 2 to 3. 2 to 3. So sometimes what we do is we think, oh, I've got to become an expert. I've got to get thousands of people to trust me and believe in me and do all of that. It's nonsense. You just need a couple of hundred maybe of the right people. That's it. So what I'd like you to do is think about, and maybe you want to put it in the chat, what is your X? How many people do you actually need to see you as an expert? And honestly, it's probably, for most of us, for most people, it's less than 200. It's less than 200 people, because you might only need 50, 60 clients a year, or 20 clients a year, or 10 clients a year. You're not looking for hundreds of thousands of clients. And this is where people go wrong, is they think they need other people in the industry, thousands of people, to validate their expertise. It's not true. You just need a group of people who see you as an expert. So what's your number? Is it 200? Is it 50? Well, honestly, for you to get 2 to 3 clients, it's probably 2 to 3 people a month. So it's like 50 people tops a year. So obviously we would never just go, actually, I'm only going to show my expertise to 50 people. But equally, we shouldn't be going, actually, I need tens of thousands either. We just have to focus on landing our expertise with a specific group of people, which leads me to where we're going to go next. There's 3 types of expert. And I'm going to share a biased opinion here. There's 3 types of experts. So Scott's saying under 20, 10 to 20. Scott, 10 to 20. Zan, 10 to 20. It's not many. It's really not many, right? So instead of going broad to get loads, go deep and get a few. And those few will confirm. Cool. Probably under 20. Right. So there's 3 types of experts, and Leo's saying 10 to 20 as well. 3 types of experts. Now, when you come to try and start this whole expertise journey, and you might already be there, you just might not. Some of you might be absolute geniuses at what you do, but it's just not landing on social media. It's just not landing in the way you'd hoped. It's just not getting through the noise. So there's 3 types of expert. And I'm going to explain the 3 types of experts, but I'm also going to say where people go wrong. So the first expert is the market expert. So the market expert is basically somebody who's using their expertise to get clients. Now you might think that's obvious. It's obvious. It's not obvious, because some people are trying to leverage their expertise in the wrong way. I'll come back to that in a moment. The next one is the industry expert. Now, the industry expert is somebody who's trying to prove themselves in their own industry. One of the biggest things that I get frustrated with on social media is I see people with a load of expertise, and I've talked to some of them, and they say to me, Dean, I want to use my expertise to get clients. Then I give them a plan of how they do that, and some of them balk at it because they say, no, I can't share that. I must be sharing this. And when we break it down, and get me here, because if you get this, it will change the way you think about this expertise world. They want to be a market expert, i.e. expert for clients, but everything that they share is actually for their industry. They share content that talks to people who know what they know. They share content to people who do what they do. Big chunky stuff, pulling out information that the clients don't care about. But other people who do what the expert does think that's really important and really significant. So often what happens is we have the goal of wanting to be the market expert, but our gut tells us we should start sharing industry content which actually has no value, no relevance to clients. Because, spoiler alert, clients are not experts. Most of your clients are coming to you because you're the expert. So your job as an expert is to help other people understand things that they don't currently understand. And inadvertently, we create content that other people who do what we do, other people in our industry go, that's a really insightful piece. The clients go, seems to know what he's talking about, but I don't know what it is he's talking about. So we get this mixed up. Market expertise and industry expertise. One's talking to the industry, one's talking to the industry you're from, and the other one's talking to the clients. And I'll give you an example of this. Apple launched the iPod. It launched the iPhone. Did it go to industry forums and discuss the issues of how they wanted to launch phones? No, they went their own way and they created something the market would love. So they created something that the market would love. The industry wasn't thinking that way. The industry was thinking differently. The industry was thinking keyboards, and the market was, Apple was thinking, how do we make it better for the customer? And so Apple wasn't an industry leader in phone technology. It was not an industry leader. What it did was it made something that the clients loved, and it became the market leader. And inadvertently, because it became the market leader, it also became the industry leader. But it's not the other way round. Industry leaders don't automatically become market leaders. Market leaders do become industry leaders because everybody wants to emulate their success. So if you want to be an expert to get clients, you need to make sure you're not inadvertently talking to your industry. So if you're providing services to small business owners and you're in a technical field, don't go writing technical articles and technical posts. Write the things that your clients will consume. So that might seem like to you you're dumbing down, and you are dumbing down because you are an expert talking to a non-expert. As I always talk about it, you're the doctor, they're the patient. Doctors talk to doctors differently than doctors talk to patients. If I talk to a patient like I would talk to another doctor, the patient wouldn't have a clue what was going on. The patient wouldn't see the relevance. The patient wouldn't see the compassion, the bedside manner. They would talk about it clinically. There would be no emotion involved. It would be, this is what's going to happen. With a patient, it's more sensitive, it's more caring, it's more more easily explained. There's a difference. Experts talk to clients different than experts talk to industries. So it's really important. And then the final one is the academic expert. The academic expert is, of course, the people who have very, very high technical knowledge in that field. They're professors, people who've studied the topic in detail, and they have a lot of knowledge to share. Anybody want to guess which expert makes the most money? Anybody want to guess which category of expert makes the most money? Anybody want to guess? Somebody's got to guess, right? Which expert out of those three makes the most money generally? I know the answer, of course, but I'm just curious to see if anybody's brave enough to guess which one it is. Anybody? No? There is a little bit of delay on the call, so maybe you are answering and I haven't got it. Well, actually the answer is the market expert makes the most money. Yeah, well, there it is. All came through. Yeah. Sadly, the academic makes the least money. The academic makes the least money. You make the most money where you can take your knowledge and transform it into real world transformations. So market expert is the closest to making a transformation. An industry expert is generally doing the transformation inside so the money is actually in the market expert. There are a few examples, tiny number of examples of people who have made it as an industry expert or an academic. They're very tiny examples, but the vast majority of experts in the market make more money. So somebody's just asked me, could I clarify the difference? So a market expert is somebody who's an expert to clients. An industry expert is somebody who is an expert inside of the industry. So like a well-respected figure who's been in the industry for a long time, who knows their stuff and is seen as the go-to person in the industry by the industry. That's very difficult to build. Yeah, that's very difficult to build because you have to be recognized by your peers in the industry that this is brilliant expertise. The market expert is you have to get your customers to see you as the go-to person. It's actually, I would say, the threshold of becoming a market expert is actually quite low compared to an industry or an academic. Actually, the threshold for credibility is very high in the last two. It's low, but you can make more money in the market section. Scott, good point there. Scott, good point. Yes, so Scott, as a sales trainer, yeah, your job is to be seen as an expert in your market, which is customers, salespeople. So sales leaders and salespeople are your market. But what sometimes we do, and I'm not saying you do this, Scott, but what sometimes we do is we talk to the people who are, we try to achieve success or expertise level from other sales trainers. So Scott's industry, he's a sales trainer, and the title obviously blurs the lines a little bit. But Scott is serving salespeople, people who are using their selling skills. So Scott wants to influence a market of salespeople. What Scott's not hopefully looking to do is be recognized by his other sales trainers as the expert, because then they will be looking to him to help them with their sales training business. Very different message to very different people. Paul's just asked, what do I think about thought leader? Oh, thought leader, you should never use the title I'm a thought leader. I think it just very low status. Thought leader is something where people are giving you ideas. They have a big audience, a developed audience, and they share ideas. Now, sometimes that crosses over into a consultant, but where I say to people is be the expert for your market, and that's where you can create a place where you've got a lot of demand. The thought leader piece is just way above. But when I see somebody on LinkedIn with 1,400 connections and 3 likes declaring themselves a thought leader, I think they're more likely a joke, to be honest with you. It's just silliness to call yourself a thought leader. I would never, hopefully I haven't done this. I just feel uncomfortable about you giving yourself a title like influencer, thought leader. It sounds so low status. I'm going to tell you who I am. It just sounds really bad. Some people don't care about it, but I just think it doesn't have a good sign. It isn't great. So market experts are where you can make the most money. It's where you have the least threshold to get there. You're just talking to people who need your help because they don't know what you know. Think about it like that. Market experts help people who don't know what you know. Industry experts are seen as the best people who know more than the other people know. Yeah, so. Yeah, Zach, absolutely. You could call it industry leader, or thought leader is the industry expert, whereas market expert is actually the more person who's commercializing their expertise. So which expert do you want to be? Everybody hopefully wants to be the market expert here because that's where they want to make money. That's how they want to get clients. That's an absolute no-brainer. I have got, just whilst I have a breather here, our guys here, our team here, every session we do like this, we offer free coaching call. There's no obligation to buy anything from us, but what we really want to do is give you some more value that's a bit more tailored. We will ask for a review on Google and Trustpilot if you get value from the session, But if you want one of these sessions to unpack this a little bit more for you, you can email us on screen. We'll book a session with you and we'll help you out. So I'll tell you a bit more about that later. Scott, that's so funny. Just the other day, someone on LinkedIn said they were a social media thought leader and also Instagram thought leader. Went to Instagram, they had 300 followers. It's silly, Scott. People do it. And there's this school of marketing, and I don't know where it's come from, and it's almost based on fake it till you make it. But the problem is, you can smell it. You can smell it's not right. It's better. Scott, our sales trainer here, will probably back me up on the comments. If you tell somebody something, they're not going to trust it as much as if they discover it. So if somebody sees your value, starts reading your content and goes, this guy or this gal or this person really knows what they're talking about, that's the best way for you to be discovered as an expert. But to declare it is just bluster. And we seem to have a lot of that these days, people just saying stuff. You got it in politics, you got it in business, saying stuff that, come on then, back it up. Where's this influence? And it's just nuts. It's come from social media, it's come from spin, but common sense people can look at it and see through it. So it's better people see it for themselves than us tell people. So how can we leverage our expertise? And I'm going to show you something and share something with you that some people might get frustrated with, but actually works. So this is a model that I've used for a long time. And yes, I understand caps lock. Scott's just asked the question. There's an email on screen, hi@maverick.io. You can book a free session, and we'll do that. We'll help you. I'll tell you a bit more about that. So there's 3 types of buyers on social media, and there will always be 3 types of buyers. You can't dodge it. You can't ignore it. They're all there. But I want to give you a different take on it. Most people get annoyed about tire kickers. They're the people who come and consume your content, consume your value, but don't really buy much from you. And you can get really resentful from them. Don't get resentful. These people are your key to amplification. So like I do the free coaching calls here, we'll do free coaching calls because we want to give value to people so that those people who are the DIY camp will go, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to give them the credit for doing it. And I've picked up so much business from helping people who've never given me any business. Yeah, that's the reality. Now, I know, Scott, in sales, you don't want to weigh yourself down with time on people who don't have budget, aren't the decision maker. I understand that. But when you're an expert trying to leverage your expertise on social media, DIY people can be incredibly useful in terms of your amplification. They can be a fan base, people who love what you do, share what you do, comment on what you do, like what you do, but don't really buy what you fully from what you're selling. Then you've got the triers. So the triers are people who come and present themselves as DIYers. They try and have a go, struggle, or need some more help, and then buy from you. So triers. And then you have the buyers, and these are the more difficult ones. Yeah, Scott, absolutely. They can be your champions, they can be your recommendations, they can be your word of mouth. So absolutely, DIYers are more valuable than anything you can think of. Don't dismiss them. Your triers are people who want to have a go, may struggle, and come back and buy. The buyers are the tricky ones, because if you want to get clients to come to you, they're the people sat watching all this play out. They're in the background watching what's going on. And they're the people who swoop in and go, been seeing your posts on LinkedIn, we've got this problem, can you help us? I've been following you for a while now, can you help us? These people are everywhere. But you don't see them, they don't often like or comment consistently, so you don't get a picture of, oh, that person's interesting. They're just sat watching, they're scrolling, they're paying attention, they're in this webinar, not commenting right now. That's where they are. And you can get really disheartened seeing the DIYers and triers and going, where are the buyers? They swoop in and you could just go, I had one the other day, not even connected. They messaged me and said, we're struggling with this, can we have a call? Big company, put some proposals together to review them at the moment. It's like, I never met this person before. I've had no interaction with this person before, but they said to me, been seeing what you've been talking about, you make a lot of sense. And it was like, it was a much easier conversation because they were asking me for my help. And this is one of the things you can do on social media if you're really focused. We call it, you can become the expert in demand. Now, you've already got your expertise, but packaging it and putting yourself together in a particular way will allow you to bring the demand to you. Now, of course, you're intentional about that. It's not just happening by magic. You're intentionally doing things to build this system, but actually you're building it knowing that you need the DIYers, you need the triers and the buyers, but the buyers come to you because of everything else. So there's these three groups of people. Now, one of the things you may not have considered, or you may have considered, is there's actually three different ways to sell to these groups. So let me just flick back, DIYers, triers and buyers. You can leverage your expertise into three different ways. And don't be afraid of this bit. Yeah, don't be afraid. Scott, exactly. A lot of your DIYers amplify your voice and add to your credibility. So it's a brilliant way to do it. So when you're leveraging your expertise, there's actually three ways you can do it, and they're not to be afraid of. So the first one is do it yourself. So, okay, how can I leverage my expertise so people can do it themselves? In other words, a digital course, a PDF guide, some kind of thing that's hands-off. So lots of people have done this, but you can actually package something that you can give to people that's DIY. It's relatively low cost, they can have a go, and away they go. Some triers will buy that too and move up. And I'm going to share with you something that we did that helped us build our business. And to this day, it's like, wow, we're still benefiting from that. So do-it-yourself products. What can you do that you can give to people? They could buy it for a low value. It gives them value. DIYers are satisfied by it. It might be an ebook, it might be a digital course, it could be anything that you do like that. A DIY, something they can go do. Triers will buy it too, but it's low cost. But some of the triers that will then move up to something else, which might be one-to-many. So one-to-many is, I have an accelerator program, for an example. I run the 100 Leads program, which starts in August. And so what I'll do is I'll take a group of people. It's a more affordable way of doing it, and will intensively help them get to their result. So do it yourself. I've got digital courses. You can go on our website, you can buy it, download it, do it. And if that satisfies you, great, go do it, nailed. But then some people go, well, I'm struggling to implement this myself. I need some help. So actually what I want to do is I want to get your help, but not one-to-one. And so you can do group one-to-many, which is a group program. So I do 100 Leads program every quarter. So in that we'll do a 6 to 7 week training session and implementation at the same time. And we'll go from, I'm not posting anything, I'm getting no leads on LinkedIn, to I'm getting leads weekly on LinkedIn in 7 weeks. Yeah. So it's affordable for everybody, DIYers and triers, but it gives them a taste of the value and it's easy to do. So one-to-many is the program that you can offer to people who are DIYers and triers. Then you have the one step up, which is the one-to-one, which is where you are dedicating your time to a particular person or a particular business. Now I do this too. So I work with some companies one-to-one. I'm dedicated. I have my one-to-many and I have my do-it-yourself. And what you will find is that some people will test out on your do-it-yourself and your one-to-many and then go one-to-one. It's not that people choose one path and stay on that path. They move round. And so what you're doing is providing 3 different revenue streams, number one. Number two, you're providing stages that people can develop with you. So DIY it, one-to-many, one-to-one. And here's the fascinating thing. All 3 of them can be exactly the same in terms of content and result. All 3. And you'll go, but why won't the buyers just skip paying for the one-to-one and do the DIY? Because that's not how it works. There are some people who don't want to do that. They actually want somebody to help them one-to-one. I had a client who paid me. I have a digital course on how to leverage LinkedIn. You can go and buy it. I think it's 95 quid or something on our website, and it'll teach you not quite everything I know, but all the fundamentals to get positive revenue from LinkedIn. I have that there, 95 quid. One client paid me to travel to his business 3 times to work one-to-one with their team, because he wanted the expert to help them get success, because he knew that knowledge, he'd lose information in the digital course that if I was there, I could tailor and tweak. And so it might seem counterintuitive here, but actually, if you realize this, you can go and buy the book from Tony Robbins of Awaken the Giant Within or Unleash the Power Within. You can go buy that book. You can go to one of his events. Yeah, so you can go to one of his events, which is pretty much a sampling of his book. But you can also get one-to-one coaching either from Tony Robbins or Tony Robbins accredited coach. All the same information, just packaged differently for different preferences. The people who will just want to do it themselves and take the information and go with it. The people who will translate it to many, and the people who want one-to-one. And actually what happens then is you've got 3 different pricing structures for the same information. And if people come to you and say, actually, Dean, I don't want to work with you because I can't afford to pay £20,000 a year to be coached by you. Okay, fine. You can come to the accelerator, one-to-many, or the 100 leads program, or you can buy our digital course for 95 quid, whichever suits you. And what you'll find is some people will buy the 95 quid and they'll go, that's great, but I need some help. I need a kick up the butt to get it implemented. Okay, come to a one-to-many. So some of you may get this and some of you may not get this, but actually it's the best way to leverage your expertise because it caters for the 3 different types of buyers. The people who just want the knowledge, the people who want some help but don't want to do one-to-one, and the people who absolutely want one-to-one. And it allows you to command a higher price for the one-to-one. So instead of going, actually, I'll charge you £700 a day or $1,000 a day, you can actually start to go, well, actually, my day rate is actually £3,000-4,000 a day. So if somebody wants me for a day, it's now going to cost them a lot of money because they can get all of the information online, but actually getting my expertise in and tailoring it for their business and seeing how they observe it is different. So 3 ways to leverage your expertise, really important. The other thing I would say is make sure you prolifically add value through your content. So don't give people snippets of things that they can implement. Don't give the whole shebang away, but give them bits that they can go do because it will really add value. So how do you create your value proposition? So if you want to book our coaching call, it's free. Our guys will actually walk you through this bit by reviewing your LinkedIn with you. So how do you make yourself unique? The first one is your personality. You've got to get your personality across in what you post, in what you share on social media. That has to come through. So Dean has to come through. Dean is not everybody's cup of tea. Dean is a bit of a no-nonsense kind of person. So my personality has to come through to attract the people who like the way I do things and to put off the people who don't like the way I do things, because it's better to know early if somebody's going to be a good fit. So putting your personality out there makes you unique. The way you style it, the way you present it. You know, some people do webinars and they go, now we're going to slide 4, blah, 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 and then show you pretty charts. I just want to talk to you and explain it, and hopefully you see my passion for this topic and you see my desire to help you do well. So my personality has to come across, your personality has to come across. You can't look grey and similar to everybody else, so be unique, be a bit different, do it your way. And this is where I come onto your methodology. Now, this is semantics for a lot of it, and I'll just be straightforward. We all have our own way of doing things, but actually one of the key things that you can do is talk prolifically about your methodology. Name it if you have to. Make a name for your methodology. Yes, Scott, the more you post, the quicker you find your voice on LinkedIn and your individuality, and the quicker you get over, am I going to upset somebody and all that kind of baggage that I was going to swear then, baggage that comes with you when you're worried about posting. So your methodology becomes very important. If you want to become the expert in demand, you have to understand and create your own methodology that people can grab hold of. And what you will find, and this is fascinating, when somebody starts to believe in your methodology and the way you approach things, by that I mean, I don't just mean your personality, but I mean, you know, I've got the 7 steps of social selling. I've got how to become the expert in demand. I've got a few different methodologies that I use to help people grow and scale their business through social media, organic social media. So you brand your methodology. Why? Because what happens is people start to use that word. So if you call it, I'll pick on Scott because he's at the bottom of the feed at the moment, the sales DNA system. Yeah, sales DNA system. And Scott starts to talk about the sales DNA system. People will start to ask him, can you tell me more about the sales DNA system? And what happens is people buy into the methodology, they buy into you, they buy into your methodology, and then what happens is they go, we need that. And here's the problem. They can't get your methodology anywhere else because you've branded it, you've customized it, you've made it your own. And it's very difficult for somebody to go elsewhere when they've engaged and seen the value of your methodology. So I have one of the big methodologies I use is called See, Taste, Buy. And it's a principle that works pretty much with any industry. And it's about visibility. It's about tasting the value. And then it's a mechanism to get people to buy. A very simple system. We can implement it in any business. See, Taste, Buy. I've just written an ebook about it. So if you want it, by the way, if you want it's the beta version of the ebook. So if you want a copy of it, I'll send you a copy of the ebook. It's about 20 pages, I think it is. It's not very heavy duty, but it's quite explains a lot of stuff. So I have a methodology called See, Taste, Buy. Simple one that you can implement. And as people talk about it, as people learn about it, they go, yeah, I need that methodology. So if you want a copy of that, just drop us an email, hi@maverick.io, and I'll send you a copy. And again, if you want the strategy call, it's there for you. So how do we speak to our audience through our content? Well, this is the trickiest bit. You've got to put yourself in the shoes of your target audience. So you've got to put yourself in the shoes of your clients, which is quite difficult because you know a lot of stuff. You've had experience of solving it. Scott, if you drop us an email, hi@maverick.io, the email should be on screen. And maybe we can put the email in the chat on LinkedIn, that'd be great. And you can send a copy at hi@maverick.io, hi, as in hi, but I'll put it in the chat now. Jack will put it in the chat, I think. So you know a lot of stuff. You have the benefit of seeing the destination that your clients want to get to. So I'll pick on Scott again. Scott will regret coming on to this. Scott Purves here. He'll regret coming on to this now. But Scott wants to help customers or businesses train their sales team and then be more effective. Yeah, no brainer. Absolutely should do. Scott has to think about this from the sales manager, the sales director, the salesperson's perspective, who can't see the answer, who can't see the destination, who's living in the diagnosis, yeah, the problem, the sickness, if you think of it, doctor-patient. They don't have the benefit of knowing what you know. They are living in the problem. You're living outside the problem. You've seen the solution. You know the solution inside out. They don't, because if they knew the solution, they'd be doing it. So you have to kind of transition yourself to thinking like a client. And this is incredibly difficult, because if you don't transition, you end up talking to other experts and your content goes over their heads. They miss it. They don't see the relevance of it. They don't see the importance of it. They don't have the time to study it. So you have to kind of shift to, yeah, Scott, they can't be objective, you can. You have to shift to their world. What's it like for them? What are they seeing? They might not see the real problem either, because they might be blinkered to it. So they might be trying to treat this thing over here, but the real problem's over here. Sometimes the real problem causes other problems over here which are more painful. So the real problem might be something, you know, a piece of technology that's not working properly over here, but actually it's causing customers to give negative reviews over here. So the customer might be going, how do we stop these negative reviews? Not really realizing it's this bit of gadget over here. So I call that symptoms and pains, or big pains and symptoms. Big pains is the gadget over here, and symptoms is the bad reviews over here. Often your target audience who need an expert will be more concerned about that bit over there than this machine over there. And this is where the market and the industry thing kind of break, because the industry thing is to talk about the machine over there. The market thing is to talk about the bad reviews over here. Does that make sense for everybody? So whatever's causing the problem, the real problem is causing other problems that are more day-to-day painful. And so most of your customers or clients will be trying to treat the symptom of the real problem. And so you go on to, yes, Leo, exactly. They see the symptoms, they're trying to treat and fix the symptoms. They don't realize what the root cause is. So if you start talking about the root cause on LinkedIn, they go, it's not relevant to me. Even though you know hands down it is. They just miss it. So you have to really talk to the symptoms, not the root cause. So how do you do that? Well, I've created an exercise. So this is a sentence you should know off by heart, right? I help who with what's the urgent symptom or big pain, to what, so they can have real world impact. So I'm going to show you our worksheet, how we do this in our programs. So it's called an audience value proposition. And this audience value proposition is about understanding the world from the client's world, not the expert's world. So the first thing you do on this, and if you want a copy of this again, email us, we'll send you a copy of it, is, and this will help you do everything. So the first thing is you write down, what the hell am I selling? Service. To who and how much is it? It's important you know this, because when you define your audience, You want to have it in your head what you're selling, what you're promoting. Even if you don't promote it, you want to have it in your head so that every example, every post you write is targeted to that service, that kind of client, and that kind of price point. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm talking to companies that are using WordPress websites, right? I'll write this down. I'm going to build a website. I'll build new websites for people on WordPress, and the price point is £10,000, right? So let's say that's what I'm selling. So I've wrote that down. I'm now not going to write about things not relevant to WordPress. Yeah, I'm going to keep it focused. So the boxes in the middle are really about keeping you focused, so you don't write about things that don't make sense. You don't deviate. The blue boxes are the big pains, the real problems, the root causes, and the big wins. In other words, if the win is that machine is now working, the big pain is that machine isn't working. The red boxes are the knock-on effects or the symptoms of that machine now working or not working. So if the machine is not working well, big pain, one symptom is you're getting negative reviews. Another symptom might be you're not getting the repeat business. You might be giving discounts, you might get in returns. These are the symptoms. So customers' world, how do we stop the returns? How do we stop these negative reviews? They may not be thinking directly about that. So the blue boxes are the root causes or the root fixes, the big things you have to sort out, but most people would not maybe necessarily concentrate on those. The red boxes are the things that are really the obvious things that are hurting them, the obvious things in them hurting them. Leo's put a question here. It's rather an issue of ego. They don't know their business or lack of deep instinct or proper evaluation of the problem. So Lee, but that's because you're an expert. It's different when you're in the trenches. Yeah, that's why generals are usually not on the field of battle, because they can step back and see the big picture. They can see, actually, we might need to concede this ground because we need to do this. That's why we have that. And you are, in one sense, an expert is a general. They're standing back and seeing the big picture. But if you're an infantry person on the trenches, you can't see the consequences of what's going on at the side of you. All you can do is fire at what you can do. And most businesses are in the trenches. Sometimes people have the ego to ignore the real problem and keep putting sticking plasters on it, but eventually they'll have to solve the issue. But fundamentally, the AVP, once you've done this and you write it from their perspective, it will give you a ton of different ideas, but also you'll find some of your most valuable messaging. And that diagram I showed you just before, that example there, right, actually ties in to this document. So you can write your like a statement of who you help and the value you bring, that, and then you, from this document, then you can write posts and all of that stuff that builds off of this. So that's really an intro. And today's session, obviously the AVP, the copy of the AVP, the copy of the ebook I've just written, it's beta version, but you can have it. And if you want the social strategy session where we'll walk you through how you can implement some of this for yourself, DIY, obviously you want to try or buy, that's cool. But if you want to DIY it, all we want is a good review. So do book a session. This is what we'll do on the coaching call if you want it. Either way, you can have the resources. Just email us and we'll send you the resources. But we'll audit your LinkedIn and current strategy. Ask any more questions if you want. Show you a clear path to consistent leads and clients using this methodology that we talked about here, the AVP, see, taste, buy. And we'll give you a roadmap to systemize your social revenue. So if you want a call, great. If you want the resources, email us, great. If you've had value from this session and you're done, let's go for it. All we ask is, go to Google, go to Trustpilot and let people know we gave you something valuable, and that would be brilliant for us. So Thank you so much for joining us. If there's any more questions, I'll hang on. If not, drop us an email to get the resources, the AVP and the beta ebook. Scott, that's always the case. You're always better at seeing somebody else's clarity than your own. That's why it takes some deep work. And often I've spent a lot of time with clients in our programs going, let's go deeper, let's do it again, let's do it again, let's do it again, and digging through it. So thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate all your time spent with me tonight. Do the, if you're on social media, you got value from this, post and tag me. I'd love to get a bit of social proof. That'd be awesome. Do a review, drop us an email if you want any of the resources, but thank you for coming.
Last year, Maverick has helped generate more than 15 million in new business. The biggest reason for this is our 90-day training and implementation platform we call the Accelerator Program, where we teach your team to sell on social media with an implement-as-you-go strategy. It's not a pre-recorded course, it's hands-on sales training that develops and grows with you, with 90 days of real action that generates business and long-term revenue. So who is it for? This program is for entrepreneurs, marketing and sales professionals who want to sell without ads, cold calling or pushy tactics. A better way of selling with real steps to take which speeds up your sales process without burning any bridges. These are just a few examples of results our members have achieved using the Accelerator. As you can see, the Accelerator isn't about quick wins, it's about building a better sales process. If you'd like to learn more, just book a call with the Maverick team and we'll show you how the Accelerator program can win you new business.